Batman from 1989. I'm kind of doing things backwards here because I've already done videos on Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. You can check those out if you haven't already. But I haven't talked about Batman 89 yet, the movie that started it all. And it kind of rewrote the mainstream perception of Batman. I mean, when this movie came out, anybody that wasn't familiar with the comics probably still thought of Adam West when they thought of Batman. So this movie was probably a bit of a shock to the system for a lot of people. You know, if you didn't read Frank Miller in the 80s, this was about as dark and grim as Batman had ever been up to this point. Which is funny because it's still really silly. And it was huge. I was born in 1984, so I didn't experience the popularity of Star Wars when it was new. But I have to imagine that Batman 89 came pretty close to that level of popularity. I mean, it was everywhere. T-shirts, toys, video games. People were tattooing the bat symbol onto their fucking chests in 1989. And every kid was Batman for Halloween. I was Batman like 2 years in a row because of this fucking movie. And probably the best thing to come out of it was Batman the Animated Series. To this day, the show is fucking amazing. And we definitely wouldn't have had it if not for Batman 89. And of course, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. There's been a lot of great Batman actors over the years. Michael Keaton is certainly one of them. But there's none better than Kevin Conroy. He was just perfect. And throughout this video, I'm going to try to make the case that Jack Nicholson as the Joker is without a doubt the most insane version of the Joker that's ever been put on screen. I know that's a bold statement, but I think you'll agree and you'll see what I'm getting at by the end of it. But anyway, let's stop beating around the bush and get to it. Batman from 1989, directed by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and Kim Basinger. The movie starts with a long opening credit sequence with the awesome Danny Elfman music. And it says, based on characters created by Bob Kane. Batman was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, but there's no credit for Bill Finger. At this time in particular, Bob Kane was pretty much taking all the credit for creating Batman. And there was little to no mention of Bill Finger at all, mostly because he had passed away already in the 70s. And I think he actually died pretty much penniless, which is tragic. If you want to know more about Bill Finger, there's a great documentary called Batman and Bill. I definitely recommend it. But I should probably actually start talking about this fucking movie, don't you think? I mean, Jesus, this video is going to be long enough as it is. It opens up with a family on the streets of Gotham City late at night. A mother, father, and son. Obviously, it's supposed to make you think of the Waynes. Except unlike the Waynes, these people are more middle class and kind of goofy. They can't seem to hail a cab. And they're obviously from out of town. Why you would choose to go to Gotham City when you're from someplace else is just fucking beyond me. But whatever. This fuckhead dad leads his wife and kid down a dark alleyway, which is ridiculous. I mean, if you're looking for a cab, you're not going to find one down an alleyway. And of course, they get mugged by a couple of horrendous looking junkies. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he invented herpes. I don't want to blame the victims here, but these folks are pretty stupid. They don't have any fucking street smarts. Then again, the Waynes did the same fucking thing. They don't have any street smarts either. And then we get the first glimpse of Batman. He's standing on a rooftop, except not really, because he's clearly animated. I don't know why they chose to do this, but this is a cartoon figure. It's really strange. And the muggers are counting their loot on a rooftop for some reason. And one of them seems pretty nervous. He's heard a lot of stories about a giant bat that kills bad guys. So if that's true, then Batman is already out here killing bad guys, which, you know, I take issue with. I'm one of those Batman fans. I like Batman to be about 20% vigilante and 80% hero, you know. I don't want to see a DC version of the Punisher with some Batman ears on his head. You know, But that's just me. And of course, he shows up and wrecks these dudes. He holds one of them over the ledge of the roof and he says, "I'm Batman," which of course, "I'm Batman" has been done to death. It seems like every Batman from this point on has to say, "I'm Batman" at some point. Which is a little redundant, don't you think? I mean, you're dressed like a bat. What else would you be? And Batman tells this dude to tell all his friends about him. I mean, does this guy look like he has friends? I mean, he has one friend, and you just kicked him into oblivion. He may be fucking dead, for all we know. And then Batman just leaves these guys on the roof. I mean, the cops are showing up, and they do get arrested. But Batman wouldn't have any way of knowing that was going to happen. He just beats these guys up, tells them to spread the word about Batman, and he leaves. What a guardian of justice. And when the cops do show up, we get introduced to Alexander Knox. He's kind of a tabloid-level reporter who is trying to do a story on the mysterious Batman, and he asks if there's a 6-foot bat in Gotham City, which is a little short for Batman. I think he's supposed to be like 6'2", at least. But Michael Keaton's real height is like 5'9", so I guess we'll take 6 feet if that's what they're giving us. And then Mayor Borg is introduced. I'm not kidding. That's his name. He's Mayor Borg. Sounds Swedish. And he clearly is supposed to be like Ed Koch, the former mayor of New York City. He was pretty unpopular, I think. But that's how you know you're doing a good job in New York. If you're a popular mayor in New York City, you're doing something wrong. Anyway, Mayor Borg vows to take down a crime boss named Carl Grissom. And he has the support of new District Attorney Harvey Dent, played by Billy D. Williams. It's going to be great to see him as Two-Face somewhere down the line. I mean, they wouldn't just bring in Lando fucking Calrissian, the coolest dude in the galaxy, to play Harvey Dent, just to end up dropping him in subsequent movies, would they? Nah, no way. At any rate, Carl Grissom's number one guy, Jack Napier, is watching this speech on TV. And Jack is obviously played by Jack. It feels like half of Jack Nicholson's roles are guys named Jack. And he's working for Grissom, and he's also banging Grissom's girlfriend. So there's that. He also treats her like shit. At one point, she says to him, "You don't worry about anything, do you, Jack?" And he looks at her like, "Why is this woman speaking to me? I'm not speaking to her, so why is she speaking to me?" Doesn't make any sense. Classy guy, this Jack Napier. And Carl Grissom has Gotham City Police Lieutenant Eckhard on his payroll, and he's played by Porkins from Star Wars. And Jack gives him some money for some of his recent efforts, I guess, and the money is hidden inside of a fucking sandwich. I guess they figure no one at the police department will be suspicious if you give this guy a sandwich, because that's how much he loves sandwiches. But this scene is just here to establish that Grissom has a relatively low-ranking, corrupt police officer on his payroll. Okay, noted. And then we get to meet photojournalist Vicky Vale. She shows up at Alexander Knox's office, and she wants to work with him on this Batman story. And I can't figure out why exactly. I mean, Knox is clearly some low-level, tabloid-type reporter that gets zero respect from any of his peers. And Vicky, as we see, has taken pictures for Time magazine. I just don't know why she's so interested in this story. They never explain that. But I guess if she's going to go looking for Batman, it might not be a bad idea to team up with one other person who believes he exists. And they decide to attend some benefit being held at Wayne Manor because they're hoping to have a chance to talk to Commissioner Gordon and ask him what he knows about Batman. And Knox finds Gordon at the craps table. Yeah, the craps table. Bruce Wayne has a fucking casino in his house. I don't know, for some reason I find that less believable than him having a Batcave entrance in his house. Anyway, Gordon deflects all the questions Knox has for him, and he gets called away. They apparently got an anonymous tip that Jack Napier is at the chemical plant called Access Chemicals. I don't know why it's called that. In every other iteration of Batman that I'm aware of, it's called Ace Chemicals, but here it's called Access. I'm not sure why. And Grissom has either a criminal connection to it or he owns it outright. I'm not sure. And he has asked Jack Napier to go there and destroy any incriminating files. But in reality, it's a setup. Grissom has asked Lieutenant Eckhart to ambush Jack at the chemical plant and kill him, presumably because Jack is banging Grissom's girl. But somehow, this got back to Commissioner Gordon, and obviously Batman knows as well, so this is already a very botched assassination attempt by Grissom and Eckhart. I mean, if Grissom wants Jack dead, you'd think he'd just pay a hitman to take him out while he's eating a bowl of soup or some shit in his favorite restaurant. You wouldn't ask a bunch of cops to do it, because what if he happens to get arrested and, he starts singing like a canary? Poorly produced on the part of this Grissom guy. And when Jack figures out that it's a setup, he makes a break for it, and it seems like he might actually get away. He even manages to kill Eckhart for betraying him. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why Eckhart is just standing around waiting to be shot by somebody. I mean, it's fucking chaos in this chemical plant, and he should have been long gone once Gordon showed up and ordered that Jack be taken alive. But whatever, he's dead. Tragic. And of course, Batman also shows up, and he accidentally drops Jack into a vat of chemicals. At least I think it was accidental. I mean, he tries to pull him up when he's hanging over the edge, but he seems kind of half-hearted about it, like he doesn't really care one way or the other. And Jack falls, and he emerges as the Joker, and his reign of terror begins. But before that happens, Vicky Vale has a date with Bruce Wayne at Wayne Manor. And I don't know how the fuck that happened. I mean, they met briefly at Bruce Wayne's party, but there was no real indication that they were going to meet for a date. I like Michael Keaton as Batman, but he's very odd when he's trying to be normal. It's like he's never been on a date before. I mean, look at how they're eating dinner. Who eats sitting at a table like this when it's just two people? They're literally sitting at a table that could have been used at the Last Supper. Jesus Christ and 12 other people could eat at this fucking table. It's really strange. And they end up hitting it off for some reason. And Jack, now the Joker, returns to Grissom's ivory tower to take revenge. Grissom pleads for his life, but Joker's not having any of it. And I guess there's no security in this building because he just strolls in, looking like Ronald McDonald's demented cousin, and shoots this guy. Oh well. I guess this criminal empire has a new boss. And it's at this point, Jack Nicholson starts getting weird. Weirder than usual, I mean.
Wait till they get a load of me.
You see what I mean? This son of a bitch is nuts. What's with the oops? What does that mean? And he further proves how nuts he is by talking to the skeleton of a Grissom loyalist that he just killed.
You are a vicious bastard, retaliate. I'm glad you're dead. I'm glad you're dead.
And later, Bruce Wayne witnesses the assassination of another mob boss that didn't fall in line under the Joker's new regime, in a public square in broad daylight, with a feather pen. Yeah, the Joker throws a feather at this guy, and he hits him in the jowls, and it kills him, as you do. And now, obviously, Bruce Wayne is aware that Jack Napier is still alive. And despite the Joker's very public crimes, Batman is getting some attention in the media, which is strange because he was basically just an urban legend until about an hour ago, and nothing has really changed. And the Joker is very frustrated that Batman is getting some of his press. And he says this town needs an enema. Again, what a strange selection of words. And the Joker has asked his loyal friend, Bob the Goon, that's his name in the credits, he asked his loyal friend, Bob the Goon, to follow Knox around and find out what he knows about the mysterious Batman. And Bob ends up getting some pictures of Vicky Vale. And when the Joker sees them, he falls in love. He says this:
I'm of a mind to make some mookie.
Are you starting to see a pattern here? This dude is not making any fucking sense. He says, I'm of a mind to make some mookie. Mookie. What does that mean? I looked it up, and this is the best definition I could find. So he's of a mind to make a fart and crap in his pants. It's madness. And don't mistake me, this is not a criticism. The Joker should say things like this once in a while because he's crazy. But it's still confusing nonetheless. And still following the Joker, it's almost like this is more of a Joker movie than a Batman movie. But anyway, he's over at Access Chemicals again, and he says this.
Have you shipped 1 million of those things? Yes, sir. Ship them all! We're gonna take them out a whole new door!
Okay, what the fuck does that mean now? He says we're gonna take him out a whole new door. I think that's the most confusing thing he says in the whole movie. Even more bizarre than making some mookie. And he's apparently been poisoning various drugstore products with Joker toxin. And it's been killing people and leaving them with the goofy Joker grin. I have no idea how this is possible. How did he manage to get Joker toxin in every fucking tube of toothpaste and bottle of shampoo in the city? How's that happen? It's eventually revealed that he poisons the ingredients to these things at the source, which is even crazier. And it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, is every hair and makeup product made and manufactured in Gotham City? It's madness. And now, Gotham City can't bathe or brush their fucking teeth until this situation is resolved. And they all look pretty haggard. Not the main characters, though. They still look great. Because they must get their shampoo and aftershave from overseas rich people places. I don't know. And Vicky Vale heads to the Gotham City Art Museum for what she thinks is a dinner date with Bruce Wayne. They apparently serve dinner at the art museum. But in truth, the Joker has somehow impersonated Bruce Wayne and invited her here so that he could meet her. And the waiter gives her a creepy present from the Joker. She opens it, and it's some kind of gas mask, and the room starts filling with gas. Everyone either passes out or dies. I assume they're dying. I guess it's Joker toxin that's killing them. Which, this is a lot of people that are just dying. And then the Joker shows up with his goons, and they all start dancing around while listening to Prince. So, the Joker likes Prince. Interesting. And they all start defacing art at the museum. And I don't think they're climate change activists, so this is a problem. And the art must not be too valuable because none of it is behind glass. So I guess it's no big loss. And you got this one fucking guy who's dancing around with a candelabra in one hand and a bucket of champagne in the other. So, it's a pretty wild party. And after they're done trashing the place, Joker sits down at Vicky Vale's table and introduces himself. He looks at some of her work, and he seems to take a page out of the J. Jonah Jameson playbook.
Crap. 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 Crap.
Crap, crap, mega crap.
And the movie gets pretty dark when the Joker says he's the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist. And he brings out Grissom's old girlfriend. And the Joker has disfigured her face. He calls her a piece of art, and he refers to her as it. And he wants Vicky to photograph these types of things. Tell me I'm not crazy. That's pretty fucking dark, is it not? For a goofy movie like this? I mean, I know there's been deaths so far in the movie. There's been a lot of deaths. But somehow that just seems way creepier than anything that's happened up to this point. And then we get maybe the funniest scene in the movie when Vicky throws a pitcher of water in the Joker's face and he acts like his face is melting, like he's the Wicked Witch of the West or some shit. And she believes it's really happening to him. And she tries to comfort him. I mean, what the fuck? It's water, number one. And two, he's a maniac. Why do you care that he's hurt? And of course, he just turns around and says, boo, and starts cackling like a lunatic. And this is where Batman shows up. Finally. I mean, what the fuck happened? Was there traffic getting into the city at this time of night? And he saves Vicky. They escape in the Batmobile. Maybe the most iconic thing in the movie is this Batmobile. It's amazing. And they go on a bit of a chase. But for some reason, they have to get out of the Batmobile. I don't know why. It's basically an indestructible tank. It's the safest place they could possibly be. But they get out, and they're on foot. And Batman's stunt double ends up fighting off the bad guys. And he faces off against some guy who's wielding a sword. He's kind of a caricature of a ninja guy. I mean, he's literally just randomly waving these swords around and screaming. There's no skill involved whatsoever in what he's doing. And Batman just annihilates him. And they get back in the Batmobile and leave. And some time passes. Alfred really wants it to work out between Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale. He suggests telling her the truth. And by truth, I mean that he's Batman. And Bruce is like, you know, that's not a bad idea. I never thought of that before. And he goes to Vicky's apartment to tell her that he's Batman. He just kind of shrugs and says, sure, why not? As though there's no way that telling a journalist his secret identity could possibly have any serious repercussions. But before he can spit it out, the Joker and some goons show up, and the Joker reveals that his human art project threw herself out of a window, which brings a conclusion to the darkest side quest of this movie. And Vicky is upset by him, and she grabs a bowl of popcorn for protection. Why there's just a bowl of popcorn sitting on her mantle, I have no fucking clue. But she is scared, so she grabs the popcorn to protect herself, as you do. Maybe the Joker is on a diet and he's avoiding starches. I don't know. Who knows? And Bruce Wayne walks in the room, and he decides that he's going to take this opportunity to out-crazy the Joker. He begins telling a story about a, quote, mean kid, bad seed, someone who hurt people. And as he's telling this story, everyone is wondering where the fuck it's going. And it ends up like this.
You know what happened to this guy, Jack?
Wow.
Made mistakes. And then he had us.
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts! Come on! Let's get nuts.
I mean, what the fuck was that? I know that in reality he's trying to bait the Joker, which is stupid, but whatever. But what the fuck is that story? The Cliff Notes for this story he just told is that he knew a mean kid who hurt people, and he started losing his mind a bit, and he ended up with his lights out. So, what, he ended up dead, I guess? Was that supposed to scare the Joker? It's fucking wild. And he's also calling the Joker Jack. And if I'm the Joker, my first question is, how the fuck do you know who I am? But he doesn't ask that question. And of course, the Joker shoots Bruce Wayne, because why wouldn't he after that? But before he does, he says, did you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? And Bruce Wayne says, what? And he just says that's something that he likes to ask of all his prey. That he just likes the sound of it. And then he shoots him. And then he says, never rub another man's rhubarb. I mean, I don't even know what to do anymore. What does this mean? It's word salad. This guy makes no fucking sense. And then the Joker and all his men just leave. They leave the apartment, which seems highly unlikely. Why did he come over in the first place? Was it just to talk to Vicky and scare her and then leave? Maybe it was. Who knows? And she goes to check on Bruce, assuming that he'll be dead, but he's gone. She finds a little coffee tray with a bullet in it. So he used that to protect himself, which is all fine and good. But what if he shot him in the face?
But what if he shot you in the face?
What if he shot me in the face?
Then again, that's always kind of a risk with Batman because his face is the only part of his body that's exposed. Anyway, because of the dance with the devil in the pale moonlight line, Bruce Wayne comes to realize that the Joker is the man who killed his parents, which I don't like. I don't like that they decided to do this. I mean, it's very contrived. The guy who turned out to be Batman's greatest foe is also the one that killed his parents. I mean, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. I would much rather it be Joe Chill, like in the comics, or maybe even better, just an unknown killer, you know? The city's so bad that they just never caught the guy. That's more interesting to me, but... And it's also contrived how he finds out that the Joker killed his parents. The Joker says the same thing about dancing with the devil when he killed his parents. And he says it's something that he asks of all his prey. But he never says this to anyone else that he kills. I mean, he kills a bunch of people in this movie. He never says that. He only says it to Bruce Wayne. And then Alfred lets Vicky Vale into the Batcave. Just lets her in. Alfred is a menace. He's always letting people into the Batcave. First Vicky Vale, later with Dick Grayson, and then Alicia Silverfoot. Anyway, she asks him if they're going to try to love each other, which is a bizarre thing to ask. And Bruce Wayne says, I'd like to, but he's out there right now, and I've got to go to work. Which is a very Batman line. So he goes out as Batman and blows up the Access chemical plant and everyone in it. All of Joker's bad guys are incinerated. I mean, these are the first confirmed kills for Batman in the movie. And there's more to come. And if he was going to do this, I don't know why he didn't do it sooner. I mean, he found out about this place a while ago, but he did nothing until now. Just kind of weird. And the Joker decides that he's going to throw a parade. With a bunch of balloons that are filled with poison gas, which is odd. It's odd that they float. I mean, the gas must be pretty similar to helium if it floats, right? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. And there's a mob of people waiting for it to happen because he said on live TV that he was going to drop 20 million cash in the streets. And the people who have spent the last few weeks being poisoned by this guy somehow believe him. And he's listening to Prince again. He loves Prince. We just have to accept that. And he sees Batman approaching in the Batplane. And he releases the gas on a crowd of people. And Vicky Vale and Knox show up. And Vicky suddenly develops a bizarre New York accent.
Smells like gas. He's going to kill everybody!
Get in the car.
And this gas is very selective because it doesn't kill Vicky or Knox, even though it clearly should. Vicky ends up running over Knox with his own car, and she leaves him there, so she's a real good friend. And Batman manages to steal the Joker's balloons, and he lets them float away. He puts the Batplane's very specifically designed wire cutters to good use. And the Joker is very upset by this. He's so upset that he decides to shoot Bob the Goon. I mean, holy shit. Bob didn't do anything wrong. It's not his fault. The Joker just shot his most loyal dude ever. His boy. Shot him like he was nothing. And if I'm one of the other goons and I see this, I'm starting to wonder how long it's going to be before the Joker shoots me. Because if he'll do it to Bob the Goon, he'll do it to any goon. And then the Batplane makes a strafing run at the Joker, shoots at him with missiles, machine guns, the whole shebang. And he misses every fucking shot somehow, despite the fact that he has a targeting computer. He still misses every shot. And the Joker, undeterred by this hellscape that's raining down upon him, has himself a fucking stupid gun, this massive revolver the size of a rifle just sitting inside of his pants. It's not a euphemism. And Batman makes a frowny face like, man, I don't like that he took that giant gun out. And he uses it on the Batplane and he takes it down in one shot. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just too fucking silly. And the plane crashes, and Batman is clearly dead. I mean, he's got to be dead from this explosion. Could not have survived this. The Joker has won. Tragic. And the Joker takes Vicky Vale hostage and brings her to the top of Gotham City's Cathedral. And this cathedral is massive. It's as tall as a skyscraper. I mean, how close to God do you need to get? Why is this church so fucking big? And the Joker plans to escape from the roof on a helicopter that hasn't arrived yet. And Batman emerges from the wreckage of his Batplane. Somehow he's alive. I don't even have a basic understanding of how that's possible. And he makes his way into the cathedral, and he knocks over every fucking pew in the whole church. I mean, this is obviously not the master of stealth Batman that most of us are familiar with. And as a result, the Joker knows Batman is still alive. Batman makes it up to the roof, and he fights off some more Joker goons. I have no idea how they got up here. They didn't come up with the Joker. So how the fuck are they here? Makes no sense. Either way, Batman kills them because he's just had it up to here with the Joker and his bad guys. And the Joker knows that Batman is up on this roof somewhere. But Vicky Vale manages to distract him, seemingly with the promise of a blowjob. I don't know what the fuck she's doing down there, but it's not nothing. But thankfully, Batman shows up just in the nick of time, and he says he's going to kill the Joker. He says that the Joker killed his parents. And the Joker seems to kind of recall this. He says, I was a kid when I killed your parents, which is odd. I mean, for a guy who's spent his whole life killing people, that he would remember this, but whatever. And Batman punches him off the roof. Joker somehow manages to cling to the side of it while pulling both Batman and Vicky over the edge. I mean, it's fucking mental. And it seems like he's got the upper hand. His helicopter shows up. He's climbing up the ladder attached to it, laughing maniacally the entire time. And Batman shoots his grappling hook at the gargoyle, and it attaches to the Joker's legs. And the gargoyle breaks off. And somehow the Joker manages to bear the weight of this fucking thing for several seconds before falling to his death. I mean, I don't know how he even hung on for that long. And somehow the Joker's body is intact. I mean, he just makes like kind of a Joker-sized dent in the pavement. But Gordon hears a laughing sound coming from the corpse. And he pulls out a little green bag, which is making the sound. And for the life of me, I have no idea what this is. If anyone knows what this is about, let me know. Because I have been confused by this for 33 years at this point. Why he has a laughing little pouch in his pocket, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that means. At any rate, Batman saves the day. seems like he and Vicky are going to continue dating, despite the fact that she's never seen again after this movie. Tragic. And Batman gives the police department the bat signal so they can call him when they need him. And that's it. Happy ending. Well, I mean, hundreds of people died, but it's a relatively happy ending, I guess. None of the main characters died, so who cares, right? And yeah, that's the end. It's a very solid Batman movie, but still pretty silly. I mean, it's not as silly as the Schumacher movies, but it's, it's still pretty ridiculous. Michael Keaton makes a good Batman. Kim Basinger is good as Vicky Vale when she's not screaming her fucking head off. I mean, there are moments when she screams for literally no reason. I mean, didn't she take pictures of a bunch of dead bodies or some shit for Time magazine? Why is she so jumpy? I don't know. Get a hold of yourself. But ultimately, Jack Nicholson as the Joker is the one that steals the show. He's clearly insane. Way more insane than any other Joker. I mean, the things he says make no sense. I mean, half the shit he says is word salad. Just nonsense. And you might want to say that Heath Ledger's Joker was crazier, or Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Some of you might even say that Jared Leto's Joker was crazier than this, but never at any point did I have trouble understanding what they were trying to say. But Jack Nicholson's Joker, you never know what he's going to say, and you can't expect any of it to make sense. It's just, from top to bottom, insanity. And he's also having a lot of fun being the Joker, which I think is essential, as opposed to some of the other Jokers who are just kind of pretending to have a good time when in reality they're all just secret sad incels. That's why I think Nicholson's Joker is second only to Mark Hamill. I think Mark Hamill is the best Joker, just like Kevin Conroy's the best Batman. Anyway, I think I've prattled on long enough, don't you think? I really am just a blithering idiot at this point. Thanks for watching if you stuck around this long. We wanted to get nuts, and we got nuts. Anyway, that is all I got for now. I am out of steam. Until next time, take it easy.
I'm of a mind, make some mookie.